Alright, so next up is the wand slash the scepter Loki had. And I guess I have to also add in these few other things that I see. But the first thing is the scepter. So the scepter we first saw in Avengers. Loki had it. Loki always had it. And then eventually Loki got defeated, and last known whereabouts of the scepter, without having to say Shield has it, is on top of Avengers Tower, aka Stark's Tower. Of course, we know that Shield collected every single weapon except one of the weapons, which you can see in Item 47. Sadly, that hasn't been released on via YouTube. Instead, you have to buy I don't even know which stupid movie you have to buy. I think it might actually be Avengers. On Blu-ray, of course. On Blu-ray, because DVD sadly doesn't have it because they want you to pay more. Anyways, yeah, we noticed that all of them, they took all the weapons and they put them somewhere safe. I think they also took vehicles as well. They basically cleaned up the whole entire wreckage. They also took his scepter, and chances are he also took the Tesseract too, but the Tesseract was put in a container, and basically it was able to take Thor back to where he needs to be. So yeah, and well, what X-Men said, which I'll put X-Men's link down below so you can actually hear all that he has to say about the movie and etc., is that he basically said the Asgardians allowed them to have the scepter, but they have to have the Tesseract. All I can say is, since Shield had a weed with them, weed growing inside of them, basically what happened is they stored the scepter, and one of the agents of Hydra went in there, took the scepter, and took it in a remote location, which happened exactly after Avengers, or at least 2 months later, a few days, I'm not sure. And since the Avengers, after Avengers, which I think this is where all the testing took place, they kept on using experiments to try to figure out, or trying to find some, I guess they were just trying to look for more super soldiers, or they were trying to make an army. And this is basically what happens post Winter Soldier, if you haven't seen it. So yeah, Strucker has it. They've been testing on it. I would say at most it's 2 years he's been using it. So if he had 2 years, he had so many test subjects, but all of them died except 2. And it's just interesting the fact that someone pointed out how this scepter is able to control people, along with actually revealing their true power, quote unquote. So for, my gosh, I forgot his name. I'll just say Pedro and Scarlet Witch. Those two had super speed, and the other one had some telekinesis or hex powers. Which, the only time I ever saw Scarlet Witch and I was like, you know what, even though she kind of looks a little bit odd, she's actually a good character, was an X-Men Evolution. So if they would have went with X-Men Evolution version of Scarlet Witch, I would have been like, that would be cool. But since they didn't, it's, yeah, I don't really care anyways. So with that said, and it revealed their true powers, doesn't that mean that, let's go all the way back to Avengers, and we go to the doctor that was the head of everything. I don't know his name. The one that ran naked in Thor: The Dark World. How about that? Yeah, that would definitely make you say, oh yeah, I know what you're talking about. When he got touched with the scepter, all the knowledge, his brain power expanded. That means everything he just when the stupid scepter touched him, his true power came out, meaning his brain power was maximized to as much as he needs to be. So that's what happened. And remember when he went to Loki and said, "The rod is the truth. I had my eyes opened. I can see everything." So, yeah, even though because of Hugo Strange in that one episode, you can't really know everything in the universe, I would say at least it boosted his brain power and everything that he was can't really remember or he can't figure out on his own. He's able to do it because now he's a super genius. That's what I think. It's the fact that he's a super genius. The only messed up part is, well, since Strucker, we don't know his method of unlocking their powers, so we don't really know. But of course, everyone will ask, well, if you say that, then how come he's not a super genius still? How come he ran naked around if he had super genius? Yeah. Well, let's think about this. It's the fact that, well, when he was in the mental institution, he figured out the way how the nine realms connected. And since he did that, I mean, when you think that a super genius has to actually have some kind of way to figure it out, because there's many others who can't actually know about that or don't know about that or didn't even care or even try to figure it out, but he just did it, and it was after Avengers, and as after he got touched with the scepter and after he broke free from it. So who's to say that he's not a super genius still? On the other hand, I guess since we don't really know what Strucker really did with the scepter, yeah, it's like a toss up on. Mm-hmm. The only other thing I can only mention is the mind gem, which I should actually have looked this one up. 1 second, I check this out. Yeah, that's one thing I don't really have on hand is the mind gem and knowing how that works. And you even can look at this and it says Loki's mind gem, and then it says right here the first one I can see is movie spoilers. Got vaccine, and yeah. I mean, aside from shooting energy bolts, it essentially does what the mind gem's known for. Way off, it's the cosmic cube. So there's some who speculated, and then you have this person as Wonder Woman who opposed the idea. So yeah, shoot, I don't really know, man. But I'm just gonna take what the first guy said. The fact that it could be the mind gem. I mean, oh, look at that. The mind gem actually is a oval shape, ellipse shaped. So, and I can actually understand what they're trying to talk about and say. And I don't agree with this stupid girl. I'm sorry. I don't agree with Wonder Woman. I mean, the scepter, yeah, they both have the same blue, light blue, glowy detail, but it doesn't seem like those two are really connected. And besides, if they're truly connected, then doesn't that mean that his power wouldn't even work? Because, well, he needs to have the Tesseract with them for the scepter to actually work. And, well, there's sometimes where the Tesseract wasn't even near it, and yet it worked. So, yeah. So for anyone out there who's like, it's not the mind gem, it's the Tesseract, it's the cosmic cube, that's what powered it. I would actually go with the fact of maybe it is a mind gem, because think about this. I think we know so far where 2 gems are, and we need 3 more. And I don't think that they're gonna be like Guardians of the Galaxy 1, 2, and 3, and then release uh what the okay, let's just say the third Avengers, where the bad guy from the post credits of the first Avengers movie will finally come to play. I think you'll actually need the five gems to be built up, and I don't think they're just gonna actually hope that the sequels of Guardians of the Galaxy to actually help that out. I think they actually need to have the gems hidden away nicely. Like for instance, the gauntlet was in Asgard. So the gauntlet is in Asgard. Technically, also Stephen Strange's eye thingy was in Asgard as well, or at least I heard some people say it was. So I think we know at least three out of the five gems, or two out of the five gems. Yeah, it might be two out of the five gems. No, three out of five gems because, well, Guardians of the Galaxy is going for one thing, so we know where three of the five gems are. Instead of having to push the whole idea that they need two sequels and they need to do it fast. Of course, they could use the other characters to help out the whole. What? Yeah, so. Mm, yeah, which you just have a Captain America, you have a Thor, you have a Ant Man 2. Well, Ant Man the movie, not Ant Man sequel to that. So, yeah, it's kind of like they really need to have it interneted some way instead of just having only one gem and Guardians of the Galaxy is going for the second gem. That means they have three gems to explain. I think it's best to actually have the scepter to be a mind gem or one of the gems. So there you go. Hopefully this actually gives you some answers to your question, and as for some who are like you're wrong, why don't you post it in the comments and let's allow lots of people to explain exactly what is going on here. So thank you for listening, and next up will be Howard Stark.